Easy all, here's Ross Vader back once again, back from London, back from Nightclub 3, where I got to meet so many amazing people and see some amazing acts in person for the first time. One of those being House Crew, another one Criminal Minds, the Captain, of course. So many good sets, running around up and down stairs all night. Everyone in the Night Force radio room, amazing, just such a great experience. While I was there, I kind of ran into a few people and they told me, we like your videos, so keep doing what you're doing. And I hadn't done a live stream in a while. It's been about a month. So got back from London. I thought, got to finish off a few projects, got to make a few videos. So you would have seen yesterday, I did a little breakdown of my House Crew Euphoria remix. You can catch that. And I thought I would do the fourth in the series of jungle production. And we're at that kind of mixdown stage. So today's live stream will take you through some of the things I do. Doing a mixdown, it's definitely not my favorite part of the process. Much more enjoy the creative side and getting a bunch of ideas out. Mixing down is a little bit tedious. It requires listening to one part of the song or the whole song thousands of times, and playing with a bunch of EQs and really dialing things in. But I'll let you guys in on my process. I by no means recommend it as a good way of doing things. What I've figured out through mixing has been largely through repetition. I'd say I'm better at it than I used to be, but I wouldn't say that I'm good at it. So take what you will, and find some of the other great YouTubers out there. Stranger, Groovin' in G. Look at their tutorials. You'll probably get a lot more value, but you're along for the ride and we'll take you on it. So first things first, I did some minor kind of rearrangement. So if you join me on the previous streams, you see I like to just put a bunch of ideas out into the door. Some of those will make the final cut, a lot of them won't, and often things are quite out of order. So what I've done, I've ordered it into, a basic structure and arc of the song, keeping those kind of favorite bits, the acid line, the kind of breakdowns, the intros and stuff, and just made a little outro as well, just to get an idea about the tune, where it would go and how it would kind of mix in and out of other tunes. So I've done that. And maybe the best thing right now is for us to give it a listen, start to finish, and then we'll figure out kind of where we need to go from there. So, without further ado, this is Favorite Things.
Do you believe me? Am I crazy? believe me? Am I crazy? Do you believe me? Am I crazy? Do you believe me?
Can't tell what's sad.
Do you believe me? Am I crazy? Do you believe me? Am I crazy? Do you believe me? Am I crazy? Do you believe me?
Can't tell what's sad.
Do you believe me? Am I crazy?
Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens.
Can't tell what's sad.
Am I crazy?
Can't tell what's sad.
Do you believe me? Am I crazy? Do you believe me? Am I crazy?
Can't tell what's sad.
All right, that's it. Played from start to finish. Just over that kind of 5 minute mark. And now we'll start kind of working on things. So if you've noticed in the door here, I have arranged things kind of in groups already. So I usually run with a kick kind of right at the top of the screen and then run a lot of my kind of break elements. So they go down to about there, that whole section, and I can kind of link those to do a couple of things. Like number one, I will route those all into a breaks group. So let's create that group now. Group there. Usually call it breaks. Pretty creative title. And then we'll colorize these things, make them all the same. That will just help us kind of later on. Now, of course, I kind of run two screens here. If you're not running two screens, do yourself a favor and get another screen, especially for mixing down. So I love to be able to kind of look where the audio is in relation to the rest of the song, see what part of the song is the busiest, and also kind of see all the channel levels at the same time. And I'll just show you guys the kind of mixer channel here, mix console. So now it's a bit kind of crammed in. Hopefully you have a big enough screen, but I can see all of those are linked, and I'm just going to leave them linked for a second to do one thing, which is to route them all through to that breaks channel. So if I open the routing and I change any one of them to breaks, they're all going to change to breaks, and then I can go back and kind of highlight everything and unlink that channel. So now they're unlinked again. I can start playing with some of the levels, and we'll do this a little bit methodically because two things have to work at the start of a mixdown. Number one, I've got to get my volumes right. It's pointless kind of going into EQ and surgically removing things if they're just too loud or too quiet in the first place. So that requires a little bit of listening and a little bit of feeling kind of what you want. You can create kind of room in things by, playing with the stereo field, moving things left and right, and I'll often do that with hi-hats or rides, things like that. So we'll have a look at that. The other thing, the kick and the snare, which we might double up just so it hits a bit harder. They've really got to work with the bass down here. So another thing in the project, I will usually kind of throw my bass down into these kind of bottom channels here, and do the same thing. I want to group them as well. Bass, add that track, kind of drag it underneath, make it the same color, and then the same thing. I only have to do it with two things now. I'll rate kind of route both the basses into that kind of bass channel, because we're probably going to put some kind of a sidechain compression or kick to. It's a plugin I really like, so I'll show you how that works, just to make sure our kick, because it is a 4/4, is cutting through that bass nice. So just so I can hear kind of both bass, I'll solo these out. The first one, kind of real 50 hertz subby looking thing. Let's have a listen to that. So I can see it's right around that kind of 50 to 60 hertz mark. Probably shave a little bit off the inside there, and then I can see all those additional kind of harmonics that drop down from it. We want to maintain some of that bass and see that it's a little bit uneven in the stereo field, so I can use a number of things to kind of fix this up. An easy one is Pro Q. You'll have this in all the Pro Qs. Change it to mid-side and then just drop the panning. So now if I look at that, it should be kind of perfectly flat there. That's all I'll need to do to that right now. And now let's have a look at this other one. We'll solo that. Stabby in nature, kind of an 808. Classic kind of 808 shape. Same thing. Let's have a look at that. That's kind of really out. We've got the filter freak on it, so that's pumping it probably right around that 50 hertz mark as well. If we bypass that, let's see how that sounds. Yeah, not as good, is it? There we go. So let's do the same thing just to get it nice and mono. Very high there around that 50 hertz. So same kind of place that we're playing in, and then kind of trails off there. So a couple of things we will do. Number one, stop soloing that, and then let's look for a part of the tune that has a few elements kind of all together. So right here I can see I've got my hats, another break layer there, I've got kind of break, got the Amigo. Yep. Those two brakes broken out. And yeah, drum here. So if I just look at these two, little 4-bar loop there, I can start soloing things, seeing how they sound, seeing what I need to do, and then also I can start playing with the levels on things. So get that right over there. Start with the kick. Another thing, I got the Q on that. Just shaving off some of those really low frequencies, give our bass some room. Another thing, I can make sure it's fully monoed. Beautiful. So this is where I would bring in kind of kick start to nice little plug-in from Cable Guys. Set it to audio, and then pick that kick 4 as my sidechain input. Turn that on, and I can actually see the kick here and see how it's carving some space in that bass. Where the kick kind of tails off, you can hear that bass come through. So the good thing about Kickstart 2 is it gives you a bunch of kind of different shapes, widths and stuff that I can use. This is probably one of my better ones for sidechaining a kick out of the bass. And then we'll have to make sure it works with the 808 as well, because we don't want to lose that punchiness of the 808. So that's like the extreme. 100% separated there. And then I keep that real punchiness of the bass. Got a few other shapes. Let's see what it sounds without it. And dial it back a bit. Sounds alright. Now, other thing, right at the moment, we're probably about +8, so that little kind of red light will come on every time I punch above 0. And as part of the mixdown process, I kind of want to get everything in line so that I'm not kind of maxing things out, so I can hear them for what they are. So in that, we'll probably bring down the bass a little bit and get that kick kind of sitting a little bit lower there as well. Usually bring it down kind of -12, and that'll make sense later. I'm going to start bringing in a bunch of other things. Next thing, that clap. like a little bit of compression on that. Love the LA2A. Real good kind of all-round compressor. See a little bit of kind of low frequencies there that probably aren't adding a lot. So yeah, just pull that down a little bit more. Go. So adding the compressor kind of gives it a little bit more resonance under there. We can just kind of shave that off with another frequency. So let's get rid of that. We don't really lose much mix. Create ourselves some more space later. Maybe 96 is a little bit harsh. A bit more of a curve there. So it's going to be our main break. It's the one that starts earliest in the tune. Kind of goes the majority of the tune, so this is the one that I really want to get dialed in nice. Let's have a look at what we have on it already. It's got Q pumping a few things up, nice little sound toys, giving a little bit more drive. We've got frequency kind of cutting those things off. This is my kind of Amen preset, just pumping up around the 2.2K, 3.5, just over 5K and the 10K, and removing some of that mud around 300. Sounds pretty good, but it's too loud, of course. So I can see that's kind of pumping through the threshold there. Let's just bring that down. Now if I look at it in relation to the other things that I've started soloing, maybe bring that clap down a little bit. Because that breakbeat through the Amigo, quite a lot of kind of hats and little shuffles. It's going to play in the higher area of the frequency range, and that's what we like. So that clap and kick still coming through nice and clear. Now, got this other kick and break. Look at that. We've got a few things on this. We've got the RX, just to fatten it up a little bit. Got PsyQ, same thing as before, kind of pushing that drive around the 1K 2K, around 3K, mid there. We've got Super Plate, so another kind of sound toys, reverb. Love the sound of this. So if I take all of those off, yeah, you definitely hear the difference. One thing we probably don't need is all of that low end there. Kind of thing. Start to wind it off. Probably sounds right now like it's kind of not glued in with the rest of the brakes, and we'll have a fix for that a little bit later. I'm panning it a little bit to the left, probably go even a little bit more in that kind of left 20 range. Nice. And we'll see what's on the other side there. Real rough kind of kick. Very distorted. What have we got? We've got Frontier on it. It's a kind of brick wall limiter. We'll use that later. And we've got the RX, making it very monomaniac. Put it up. Same thing, it's got a lot of noise right there. We want to maintain that. Those are the bits we want. We want a bit of that dark kind of crunchiness there, and where it's pumping up here in the kind of 8K area. Just a little bit loud. Listen to things a lot. Try and train your ears to hear the different kind of ranges and separate things out in your mind. Make sure they're all kind of cutting through the mix. It feels like the kick's kind of getting a little bit lost there. Up a little bit. That's all right. Might just pan on a little bit to the right. little bit. Alright. Those two. This assemble brake. Nice little bit of variation there. I'm going to open that up and see what it looks like. We've already kind of removed a lot of the low ends. This one's not too bad. I wouldn't do too much here. Kind of compress it later. Just bring it around the right volume. It's just going to add some colour and some depth behind all our main brakes there. So make sure you can hear it. It is really kind of panning off to the right as well. And try and balance that out. Something else. That's pretty quiet, so we'll bring that up. It is panning as well, and you can see there's quite a lot of low stuff that we can get rid of because we can't really hear it anyway. So you can chop so much of this off without affecting it. We'll keep it all really clean under about 100 hertz there. Right, so just to kind of balance it out and say this is playing to the left, this is playing to the right there, next to each other, and the same over here, a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. Still a lot down the middle because we want to maintain that kind of drive through the middle. Also, doesn't hurt to have it a little bit stereo. Depends where they're going to play it, really. I prefer to listen to things that kind of fill out a little bit more. Sometimes those things sound pretty average on a club system. We don't worry about that too much. Alright. So, not too bad there. In relation to everything else. play with a few of the other pieces. Loop this here. Gonna take all of those off. Start again. And we've got this section here, which is going to have our think break all chopped up, and a few other instances. We've got that assemble break again, and this break, which probably just want to keep the high parts of that because we also have a kick running in the background. So we'll play this out. Clap. So those are the parts that we've kind of adjusted already. Now we'll be adding the think break. A few things on it. Got a compression ready. Reverb, pumping. A slight bit of reverb and a slight bit of that snare slap. A bit of echo there if I bypass that. Takes a lot of the fun out of things, so those back on. So let's get the volume about right. So that little vocal part, that's something I want to bring out. And then this little bit here, that kind of real echoey stuff, I want to duck that a little bit. I want to maintain some of that punch from the kick and the snare. This is pretty good. Maybe this is like a little bit too crazy. Bring it down heaps, just a little bit, because we already have hi-hats, and they're going to be layered as well. Rest sounds pretty good. See what this sounds like. Yeah, a whole bunch of kind of heavy bass from that bad boy. So I like the little ride there. This is something we could kind of potentially cut out of the whole song. Just don't want it to clash with our other kick. See what happens if we just kind of get rid of the low stuff there. Snare there. Sounds really kick, gives it a little bit of extra accent. Will it give us kind of phase issues? Works. So we put the alien ping pong groove echo boy on this to make it sound very, very strange. I still want to remove loud. Look what it adds. stretched out time stretch of our think break up here. So we don't really need to do too much with this other than kind of bring it down so it's not louder than our think break. Look at my A bingo 4, minus 11.8. Let's use that as a starting place. Let's see, it might be too quiet. Yeah, and what else do we have on that 5? So, same kind of thing. Probably want to put a bit of that snare slap. I can just copy that across. Yep. And probably want a little bit of that reverb on it as well. So let's loop that up. Cut off that low end there. Yeah, let's not do too much to that, eh? Maintain everything there. Alright, so they're not in the break script, that's for sure. Stereo out. Stereo out. I'm going to change these colors. Let's see what this bad boy is. Same thing. Stereo out. Let's kind of move those underneath. And now, good listen to our breaks group. And have it with our bass group. So, start of that break where we're getting like really a lot going on here. So I'll take this and I'll show you what I do to kind of glue everything together. So one of my go-to kind of synths you will have seen is the Frontier. So drop the output volume a little bit, just below, and wind the threshold off until I'm just getting a tiny little bit of movement there with that needle. It's a kind of a brick wall limiter, so it's going to push everything up to a certain threshold. But I find it glues a lot of separate breaks together. I think I saw Sanction use this originally in one of his streams. Thought that looks good, like that. And then I've just got to try and gain match. So without it, and see we're around that minus 2.5, minus 1.7. When I turn it on, it's going to pump me kind of way above. So then if I bring that back down, just to try and get in the same range. We can do a lot more kind of fine tuning later, but that's kind of one of the tools I'm going to use. And now I can kind of hear things a little bit more clearly as well. I can hear this bad boy here. That's really cutting through. Maybe a little bit too loud, so just drop that a little bit. Kick cutting through nicely. Play the things here and there. So I get everything in that nice little area. So we've done a bit of work here. We've got the brakes kind of sitting nicely with the bass lines. Probably still a little bit of work to do. Help it sit with that 808. come back to that, won't we? So, a couple of other musical elements. So, I've grouped these kind of three together. We can start this just kind of by itself. This was that kind of cut sample from the original source. Favorite things. Already got a bunch of kind of vinyl sounding backgrounds to it. I definitely don't want to lose any of that. But maybe down here where no one can hear things, I can kind of slice that off. So let's see what affects things. Do like a really hard cut. Doesn't change too much. Let's remove some of that really kind of low crackle. You hear that? It's like someone's blowing on the microphone. And get rid of that.
Can't kill what's said.
So it's probably a good part to kind of group the other sections. So we've got that kind of music section. Let's rename this. That's the string. Cool. This is the favorite things. One. Yeah, no kind of rhyme or reason to how we name these things. One thing we may adjust is kind of where this string sits there. So for the first time around, we'll have kind of no string there.
Whiskers on kittens, raindrops on roses, and whiskers on kittens.
And the second breakdown, gonna bring that string in. So string, that's definitely a musical element. That's our nice little pad there. That's another favorite things, number 2. So they kind of belong together. Yeah, so it is a stab, but it's a stab of a string. That makes sense. This one probably more in the pad family. So let's make it yellow for pads. Jungle pad, that's quite obviously a pad. String would sit in music. Phocyon, it's kind of its own thing there in acid line. This bad boy down here. It kind of fits in my FX, but I can probably group it safely with the acid line. Be very similar. What do we got down here? Rave generator. That's definitely in my stab family. Let's probably sit by itself. A lot of things. And then I have my 2 kind of vocal chops there. Make that, what to color you? Blue, blue, and then my vocals. So we'll create a few groups. Number 1, we'll call it my music group. Move this up under the purple things, make it purple, and then those 3 channels. Go to music. This will all make sense. At the end, when I adjust kind of collections of things, bring one whole family of stuff up or down, then we'll add a pads channel, and that is yellow. Kind of 2 pads in it. So might not do this with everything, like the faux scion and the rave generator. Probably kind of EQ them as their own thing and just make little adjustments. This we might even leave as another kind of red one. The little vocal chops, we want those to sit in the same family there, even though it's only kind of 2 things. And the vocals, we definitely want that to sit together on its own channel, because we'll do a lot of aftermarket stuff to that as well. Cool. So next kind of steps, I have this nice little section here. Yeah, not much breaks there, so I can kind of solo out the bass. Really want that to be something kind of sits behind. It's an accent piece. It's not something that should be kind of out in front. Get some breaks with it. So we've got a little bit of compression and we've got the Valhalla on it, but there are a lot of kind of low end frequencies there. So I haven't really EQ'd it at all. Now, frequency has some great presets. One of them that I like a lot is for female vocals. Go kind of right down to the bottom here. Female bright and warm. Now that's extreme. Look at that. We're looking at kind of +4, +7 dB. So it's going to sound crazy. I want to kind of tame it out a little bit. That's a little bit more I can deal with it. Let's see what it's on.
Brown paper packages tied up with strings. 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 Brown paper packages tied up with strings.
Move that down.
Brown paper packages tied up with strings. Brown
bit of compression on the vocal. When I've got some original samples that I've cut kind of straight from one of my sources, I want to kind of maintain some of the authenticity of it. I don't want to do too much EQing, kind of remove the heart of it, like whenever it was recorded. Sample a lot of stuff from the 50s and 60s and 70s, and it's obviously done a lot of old equipment. I like to kind of maintain some of that soul, or some of the breadth of it, because I think it sounds really cool. So with that being said, I don't want to change these musical elements too much, because it's the whole point of sampling, to maintain some of that stuff. And I just need to make them fit kind of volume wise, so that all the newer elements, all the cut up breaks, can kind of fit through as well. So let's take it back to the start and just start to listen to everything, and then do some adjusting in those bigger channels. Then we'll start the process of exporting things, listening in other ways on other devices, coming back. It's a process that can take weeks, something that can also take hours, depending how lucky you get and the samples that you've chosen. If you want an easier mixdown, the hottest tip, have less channels. If I look at kind of UK hardcore, like 100 channel projects, I can imagine that would be a nightmare to mix down. I would need a screen as big as this room. If I look at something like this, my Polyend tracker, Peak Cannon edition, you have 8 channels, and that's all you have. It'll force you to be more creative, and it will speed up the amount of time that you can mix something down in, because you've only got to mix down 8 channels. Now, for a long time with Cubase, I probably played in that 40 channel kind of area. That's too many. If you look at some of my newer tunes, they would be half the amount of channels as this one. And it's just being more creative within those channels, doing different things, variations on stuff, using different plugins, and using a lot more automation to give it a bit more life. As I get more mature as a producer, if that's the right phrase to use, I really want to limit myself, because in a DAW like Cubase or Ableton or any of them, your options are really close to limitless with what you can do. Even with stock plugins, do amazing things. You'll see that I like to use a bunch of Cubase standard kind of stock plugins. I really like their EQ. A lot of people like the Fab Filter, the Pro Q3 and stuff like that. I've just never upgraded from 1 or 2. Because frequency kind of does so much of what I need it to do, and it's fast. It's easy. It's kind of got a lot of good presets to start with as well. The other kind of things are, pick good samples. If you pick shitty samples that sound really flat and have no life at all, you're going to have to put a bunch of plugins on them, and you're just never going to be able to make them sound good sometimes, no matter what you do. You might go back and forth with a sample that you really like for weeks, trying to manipulate it in different ways to get it to kind of fit into the song and sound good. I have done that, especially with some rap vocals and stuff that I've really wanted to put in hardcore tunes, but there's a whole bunch of shit in the background that you can't get rid of, even with these like AI or whatever it is that strips vocals, kind of makes stems out of stuff. That all has its limitations, and there's all artifacts that remain. Avoid all that by just picking kind of good samples. And there's plenty of them out there. Ridiculously, I have well over 300 gig of samples, and yeah, that's too many. I'll probably use a very small amount of those, and yeah, I've got hundreds of VSTs. I probably only use a few of them religiously. I've got a bunch of hardware as well. I probably don't use that as much as I should either. But we're all pretty time poor, so you do what you can with what you got, and then you just try and make things work. So that was a long kind of sidebar to playing this tune again. Apologies.
Can't kill what's said.
Do you believe me? Am I crazy?
So it comes through kind of really loud because we've got compression on the whole channel. So what we'll do with that is kind of pull it out, because we want that to sit nicely in the mix. Let's just make it a different color and see how it comes in now. Yep. Take that one down. So this is a decision time. Do we like that hi-hat coming in there? Or do we think it sticks out too much? Probably original thoughts sticks out a bit. So we've got this really nice stink break. Does it add a lot, or does it add not too much? So let's think about it. Without it,
Can't kill what's said.
this pad, that's something we'll adjust. Let's see. I like it. Just think it is. Let's see how it sounds, you know. Let's solo it. Up a little bit. As I said, frequency has some great presets. Maintains the heart of those pads. They're just sitting a little bit too loud, aren't they?
Am I crazy?
Can't kill what's said.
Do you believe me? Am I crazy?
It's another one that we can add a bit of frequency to, just to kind of clean it up as well. Too extreme up there.
Can't kill what's said.
Am I crazy? Do you believe me? Am I crazy?
Said.
Am I crazy? Do you believe me? Am I crazy? Do you believe me? Am I crazy? Do you believe me? Am I crazy? Do you believe me?
Can't kill what's said.
Do you believe me? Am I crazy? Do you believe me? Am I crazy? Do you believe me? Am I crazy? Do you believe me?
Can't kill what's said.
Do you believe me? Am I crazy?
Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. White copper candles and no mittens. Brown paper packages tied up with string. Brown paper packages tied up with string.
Can't kill what's said.
These are a few of my favorite
Do you believe me? Am I crazy? Do you believe me? Am I crazy?
Can't kill what's said.
We'll save it there. We'll export a copy. We'll listen kind of outside of the door. So let's go here. 24 vehicle. Export. This will take a little while. Thank you for tuning in once again to Ross Fader Jungle Production Stream number 4 for the tune Favorite Things. Gone through a bit of the process here, how I group things, how I colorize things, kind of as I go along, so I know when they're done. How I EQ a few things. You'll see that I don't use a ton of like reverb and echo and all this other stuff. Compression I use here and there, be a little bit sparingly as well. Can use all these things a lot more to a lot greater effect. It's just how I'm doing things right now. I think every song I make, my process kind of evolves a bit. If you spoke to me 2 years ago and said, you know, how do you do things? It'd probably be in a completely different way. And you can probably hear that in my music. It's just there's a bit of a delay as well. So once a release kind of goes out, it's probably something that I've worked on, you know, maybe 2 years previously. And it's been kind of finished. Maybe a whole EP got finished over space of maybe 6 months or something, sent off. So if you think of the first track I worked on, goes in the queue, sent, tests, press, that comes back, and then another 3 months after that, you might get your final release, and then it might come out a little bit after that. So if I look back at things I've made in the past, by the time they come out, I'm actually doing things, or I've learnt a lot more, or I'm using a different kind of EQ or a different VST for things, and that's just the evolution of like production these days. The more I do things, the more time I get to kind of sit down and put into it, probably the better I'll get at some of this mixing down stuff. I've reached out to a couple of people in the scene recently at Nightclub 3, just to kind of pick their brains and see how they do things, see how they get their breaks to sound how they sound, because I think there's a lot to be learned out there. The other things I'm doing is watching plenty of tutorials from people like Stranger, people like Stecker, people like Grooving in G, to kind of learn all that I can from them as well. All right, so that has exported. We're kind of at the 90-minute mark. If you've stuck around for this long, I appreciate you. If I got to catch up with you at Nightclub 3, it was wonderful to meet you in person, whoever you are. And no doubt I'll try and get back to the UK again sometime in the near future. Definitely would highly recommend a nightclub 3 if you've never been to one, or a nightclub party if you've never been to one. Keep it locked to this YouTube channel. I'll be doing more production stuff. I'll try and be a little bit more active, and I'll also have some edited down videos, probably edited down in the door videos as well. So where you see like one of these, I think we're at 8 hours of something. If you kind of put them all together, I'll do a 25-minute version and edit out all the mumbling and rambling that I do. It's something that's a little bit more consumable in a time poor world. So thanks again. It's been Ross Fader signing off. Keep it locked. Keep it Night Force. Peace.